Henderson. Nancy is a fee-only financial planner with LearnVest planning services. She writes a blog for Forbes on easing into retirement while living a rich life. In her spare time, she is an official blogger for Deer Valley Ski Resort, writing about learning to ski at age 50 and everything Park City. Most of her time is spent throwing a tennis ball over and over again at her yellow lab, Ginger. The topic of today's speech is 5 financial skills every 20-year-old needs to learn. It's her second speech, Organize Your Speech.
College students today are graduating with an average of $27,000 in student loan debt. That's $300 a month for 10 years. It's no wonder that 9 out of 10 baby boomers are helping their adult children financially. Corporations, they don't really have to worry about the baby boomer brain drain until the baby boomers can deal with the money drain in their own households. In my household, my 23-year-old son, Rick, graduated from college last year, and he just got laid off. I was so disappointed for him. He was a stats major, got this great consulting job, figuring out how much to sue someone or how much to settle for with a company that dealt with attorneys. With the billable hours dwindling and him being the low man on the totem pole, he saw it coming. When he called me to tell me about what happened, I was disappointed and really sad for him, but I wasn't worried about money with Rick. You see, unlike most millennials, Rick had 6 months' expenses in the bank. Rick possessed some serious money skills, and frankly, I'm going to take the credit for it. You see, he's been managing his own money since he's 10 years old. So, when this crisis happened for Rick, because he was prepared financially, he was disappointed, but it didn't happen to be a crisis for him or for me. So believe it or not, all millennials can be just as prepared as Rick when a crisis happens. They just need 5 financial skills. The first one, keep your overhead low. Seems obvious, your rent, cable, keep those things low. But there's something that's happening now, it's called the subscription service now. How many of you listen to Pandora? Pandora is this great internet radio, but it has commercials, no big deal. You can pay $3.99 if you don't want to listen to the commercials. So you think, oh, maybe I'll sign up for that. But seriously, if somebody said, you know what, can you pay me $50 and not listen to commercials? People are probably going to say, no, forget it, I'm not going to hand you $50. But if you look at it now, there's Netflix, Map My Ride, Hulu, all of these different subscription services, along with your cell phone, all of those things really add up. So keep your overhead low and only get the things that are of real value. Number 2, ability to switch into super frugal mode. You know what I'm talking about. The goal is to eliminate credit card debt. So what happens during the middle of the month, maybe you need new tires, or maybe you had a whole bunch of people come visit, and there's more month than there is money. So people who can switch into super saver mode and eat PB&J, rent out their bed on Airbnb, they can ride share, whatever they need to do, go dancing instead of going to the club, dance at home. People who cannot use the credit card, those are the ones that can make it financially. Along those lines, number 3 is to cook. You wouldn't think of financial planning and cooking in the same sentence. But people who can cook can really reduce their expenses. So think about this. Every college student should be issued a crock pot. Right? So what they can do is they can take some meat, they can take a bag of frozen vegetables and some spices, and then pretty soon what happens is at the end of the day, they have 4 meals, and what did it cost them? $8. Got parched, excuse me. So at the end of the day, they have all these meals that cost them $8. They could literally live on $100 a month on food costs. So they don't have to be Jamie Oliver, they don't have to be Emerald, but if someone can cook, it can make a big difference in making their ends meet. Number 4, choosing the right roommate. You might not think of that as a financial skill, but sharing space can really boost somebody's income. And choosing the right roommate is really, really important. So think about this. What is the top characteristic of the best roommate? Anybody?
Never there.
Ability to pay. Exactly. Yeah, you want somebody who can pay the rent. You don't want your best friend. You don't want the party guy, the guy who can get the best beer. So think about paying rent on time is number 1. Somebody that's clean, maybe somebody that's good with sharing, and maybe somebody that's never around also. So before I had my kids, I lived in Sacramento, right near University of California Medical Center. And so I rented out a room to med students. They're doing the rotation. They paid their rent on time. They were fascinating to talk to when they were around, which wasn't very often. It worked out great. So choosing a roommate, and maybe eventually the right mate, is a really important financial skill. The last thing, and probably the most important one, is the ability to sock money away. You skipped the latte, you got the roommate, you went dancing at home, you had a party at home and danced instead of going to the club. That's not really going to make a difference unless you do something with that money. So the people that can take that money and put it into a no-touch account, they're the ones that are going to be successful. So everyone should set up an automatic transfer at the beginning of the month into a savings, and then maybe pick a bank that's not so easy to get to. Maybe pick Bank of America if you live in Utah. No branches in the whole state. Yeah, you have to drive to Elko to get your money. I know, trust me. But whatever it takes to put that money in that no-touch account, those are the people that are going to do well. Ability to sock money away. Unfortunately, most Americans don't sock money away. 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. This lack of financial stability, it makes us all vulnerable when an emergency strikes and a family member calls and says, hey Mom, I need first and last month's rent. Or Aunt Nancy, I can't pay my student loan. I mean, what are we going to say? I'm sorry, I'm saving for my retirement in 15 years. Like, no, we're going to say, sure, I can help you. I'd be happy to help you. But that money's got to come from somewhere. When 20-year-olds can manage their cash and sock money away, it means financial security not just for them,